Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to my channel for Adapt Counselling. This is the second video that I've made, and I do apologise for the delay being since back in April from the first one. It was not my intention to leave it so long, but I think life doing its stuff sometimes gets in the way, and that happens to all of us. I do intend to make these videos more frequently in order to support those of you who aren't able to come for whatever reason to counselling, and just to put the information out there really. I'd love to receive your feedback at the end and to know what you think, because that's really important to me. That will encourage me and also encourage other people to listen and hopefully enjoy these videos. Also, for you to know that I'm not going to in any way edit the content I should say, because I want these videos to be genuine and I want them to be real. And my thinking behind that is that we're all human. We all make mistakes. And if I get it wrong, well, okay, I can hold up my hands and say, sorry, I got it wrong. I made a mistake, and to move forward. That's the way I like to work with my clients, and people find it really helpful. Moving on. Today, I would like to talk to you about something neurologists call neurogenesis. Yes, I know it's a technical term. It basically means neural stem cells in the brain that can change. Neural stem cells that can change and form new cells. Isn't that amazing? Our brains are quite phenomenal in what they can achieve. And we only know so little about the brain. This idea came to me from reading one of my subscribers' feedback asking for tips on brain rewiring. And I absolutely love the brain and finding out more about how it works. So I thought I would begin this video with tips on rewiring the brain, or neurogenesis. Now, there's a quote that I came across quite recently by an American country singer by the name of Naomi Judd. And Naomi says, your body hears everything that your mind says. Let me repeat that. Your body hears everything that your mind says. In other words, put simply, what we think on the inside affects how we behave and can also be felt in our bodies. And this particularly applies with trauma. You may have read the book The Body Bears the Score, and it is absolutely true. It certainly does. There is so much we can do to help with the way we feel based on the way we think. If we change the way that we think, what do you think the outcome's going to be? It's not rocket science. We change the way we feel as a consequence. Isn't that fabulous? I think so. It's always work for me in progress, and it's always an evolving process for each and every one of us. There are no right or wrongs, I don't think, as to where we should be along the scale, as long as we try. I don't know if you're familiar with Einstein's definition of insanity. I did a whole speech about that once. Maybe I'll replay that for you one day. Einstein's definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. If you think about it, it's common sense really. If we keep doing the same type of behaviours all the time and thinking, oh, I wish things were going to be different, I wish tomorrow's going to be better. If we don't change anything about the way that we behave, tomorrow the difference is going to be minimal compared to if we were to put in even the slightest different types of behaviour. And I say the slightest because any changes that we make are much easier if we start with the small changes rather than massive or great big changes. Now, there may be many reasons that we may find it difficult to make changes happen in our lives. And sometimes our lives are quite reactive to the circumstances around us. In fact, I'd say they often are. We may have physical restraints. We may have all sorts of different issues that we're trying to juggle in our lives. But it's so important in terms of our well-being and how we feel on the inside, and yes, what's happening up here, to try and think about the changes that we can make, very, very small changes. Now, you may have heard it said it can take 21 days to form a new habit. I would say quite often it takes longer, around about 3 months in my experience. What could you change in the next 3 months to make a difference in your lives? I know I've changed a few things in my own lives. If we start small, a good way of doing this is to tag any changes onto an existing habit that we have. An example of this might be cleaning your teeth in the morning. You perhaps do that without thinking. If you wanted a change of, say, doing 5 lots of touching your toes in a day, the best way of remembering that is to say, after I've cleaned my teeth in the morning, I'm going to touch my toes 5 times. And I bet you, by the end of the month, certainly within 3 months, you would be doing that without thinking. Could you manage it? Could you manage to touch your toes 5 times? The touching toes is only a small example. It could be anything, but make it relevant to your own lives. And then once you've built in that habit, there's an opportunity to build in more habits. And it makes such a huge, huge difference. There may be many issues and reasons behind why you're finding it difficult to form new habits. Procrastination is a huge one. And I have to confess that procrastination was the reason why there's such a delay between the April recording of this channel and the July recording of this channel. Because for me, procrastination, why is that? I've realised it was a fear of failure. Yes, counsellors are not exempt from these emotions and feelings. And we need to walk the walk. We need to constantly look at ourselves and to see what is going on. And what is the worst thing that can happen is a really good question to ask yourself. And do you know what? Somebody said to me, stop worrying, just do it. And that's what I'd like to offer you. Stop worrying, just do it. And I hope to speak to you again next week. Take care for now. Bye.